Louis, a week of big change really for the club and yourself on an individual note as well. Obviously stepping in as interim assistant manager alongside Rob as the interim manager. So how has this week been for you so far?
It's been good. It's been testing, but it's the sign of a new chapter for obviously me and Rob as individuals taking over as manager and interim assistant manager, but obviously a new chapter for the football club. So, like I say, it was a quick change round after last weekend. You know, we got the news on Tuesday. It was quite a demanding, a slightly emotional day on Tuesday. A lot of the boys have worked with Mike and Ian and Chris for a while. But we had the conversation, they came and said their goodbyes, which was obviously really good to be able to see them off before their new challenge and the next step on their journey. But that was quickly followed by a meeting and a training session up on the pitch on Wednesday, and that's really set the tone for this week, which is it's football. You know, changes happen potentially a little bit more frequently than the period that Mike, Ian and Chris had at the football club. That was, you know, quite a bit of stability and longevity in their management, but ultimately it's, like I say, evolution. We're adapting and looking forward to tomorrow's game.
Yeah, and you mentioned from a player perspective, really, I suppose some of the boys will be used to managerial changeover, some of them maybe not so much. So how has the reaction been from them this week as well?
The reaction has been top class, to be honest with you. The boys processed the information on Tuesday, and like I say, you know, we had a meeting with Mike, Ian and Chris Tuesday morning, and then half an hour later we had a meeting with me and Rob, and we're already set away for training, and the boys have really adapted and took on and processed the change, but then have just their mindset and their professionalism in terms of preparing for tomorrow's game has been top draw, and it's going to put us in a really good position because they're really positive, confidence is high to continue the work that we've done so far this season. And I think we're all excited by the challenge of, this next step and this next chapter and evolving further.
For yourself, it's a progression in the role for you, obviously stepping into the interim assistant manager role. You were part of the coaching team anyway, so I had a hand in a lot of that type of stuff. But how much has the workload changed for you this week?
Yeah, it's jumped quite a bit. The nature of the work hasn't changed necessarily, but I suppose a little bit more responsibility on planning, the preparation and I suppose decision making in terms of our setup, our kind of selection for tomorrow, working with Rob. Before Mike, Ian and Chris moved on, the four of us with Rob as a team of five were quite collaborative in terms of, you know, the detail that we would go through, being on the same wavelength in terms of our identity, the structure that we wanted, how we wanted to try and dominate our opposition. So that necessarily hasn't changed because we all bought into that, and it's a part of, you know, our thinking for myself and Rob. Yes, we'll have our own little bits of ideas that we want to add in, and a bit of evolution for the structure and the identity. But I'm so lucky in the fact that I worked with Ian, Chris and Mike. They've been fantastic mentors, even better friends. So I just feel working with them and now stepping up, I'm fully prepared. I'm really confident. I'm just really enjoying and looking forward to the challenge of the step up in role. Yeah,
and going into tomorrow, obviously a trip to Chesterfield, I suppose, in a lot of ways, although a lot will look at it as very much being a difficult game, in a lot of ways for you it's a great opportunity to make a bit of a stamp in people's minds, maybe that, you know, things haven't changed in terms of on the pitch performances or anything like that. It's ultimately the perfect challenge, I think, because the mindset changed so quickly, and potentially playing top of the league contributes to that in terms of, you know, we have to move on. Football changes around quickly, and we have to move with it. It's going to be a great marker in terms of a test for the group and the management team, with a slight setback in a change. You know, us stepping up to the challenge and essentially embracing the game and embracing the level of the quality of opposition. And it's, I suppose,
dive into the deep end, if that's the best way to do it. You know, we don't want to feel like there's a period of transition or a period of uncertainty. We just want to be clear and have clarity in our minds in terms that we're moving forward and that we attack each and every game, because the next game is the most important in Chesterfield as an opposition and as an away challenge, and what it represents in terms of where we are in the league and where they are. It embodies all of them factors. So yeah, it's like I say, it's potentially the best opposition for us.
Yeah, and in terms of the picture team news wise, of course, Tinks went off with what seemed to be like a dislocated shoulder in the FA Cup last week. Obviously went to hospital later that day, I think. So how's he been since then?
Tinks is fine. Tinks is Tinks. In terms of, you know, he's very experienced, and ultimately we're in a position where we're still assessing his injury. So he you know, he's just waiting for the outcome of that, and then we'll take the next step. So Tinks himself is good, and he's been in and around the boys, and he's infectious. He's a great character. He keeps spirits high, and it's been a real credit to him, because even with his injury, he's getting around the boys and making sure that we're fully prepared and we're really, you know, positive and confident. So hopefully in the next week or two we'll have a bit of a better idea in terms of time frame for Tinks. But apart from that, everyone else is raring to go. There's real competition in the squad. There's real quality in the depth of the squad, and that's shown in each and every training session so far this week. And it's been a good headache for me and Rob, because we've got great decisions across the board, because we've got quality across the board. But we're going into tomorrow's game with a lot of strength and depth, and the boys are in a really good place to execute, you know, our game plan and to attack the game.
Yeah, and we mentioned the period of change from a player's perspective and from your perspective, of course, but it's a change from the fans' perspective as well, obviously being so used to having Mikey and Chris around the club for the last few years. But the reaction to you and Rob coming in on the interim basis was pretty positive, really. So how much of an impact does that have from your point of view? It's give
us a confidence boost, you know, feeling and seeing the support from the fans, knowing that you've got their back just as much as we know that we've got, you know, the backing from the players and the buy-in from, you know, the chairman all the way down. Knowing that we're getting support from all angles from the football club just gives you that extra bit of belief, that extra bit of confidence. Well, you know, we definitely wouldn't shy away from that, and it was great to see. Obviously, and had a lot of messages, myself and Rob and even Carl, throughout this week, which, like I say, it helps us really relish the challenge, which then transcends to the group and the messages that we give to them, and also to note that it was great to see the support and kind of love for Mike, Ian and Chris in terms of the appreciation of what they've done and supporting the next step in their journey. So it's actually been a really positive week from the fans in terms of what they've given us, and we're looking forward to seeing that support even further at tomorrow's game, because we're going to top the league. We're going to, you know, a stadium which is going to be full of atmosphere, and we want the Heat Army there shouting us on, because the way that we play with our high arousal and intensity, we need energy to do that, and we demand so much from the boys, and sometimes that'll come from the boys themselves, and no doubt that sometimes that'll come from the fans to help us kick on and push on and play the way that we do. So it's just been great to see actually that there's buy-in right across the board, and I'm looking forward to the support in the future for sure.